Hello again, SGBers, Companion Wolf here with another Smile Game Builder tutorial. This is the very first actual tutorial of 2019. Now, I know I haven't uploaded anything for quite some time, but if you want to know what's been going on, I wrote a post on the SGB Athenaeum about it. The link will be in the description. And as many of you know by now, I was recently hospitalized with pneumonia and I'm on the track to recovery. When Tina, my other half and co-admin of the RPG Maker Times Facebook page, made the announcement, the outpouring of well wishes and support was overwhelming, and for that I would like to thank everyone for all of that support and encouragement. This not only applies to Facebook but to Twitter, YouTube and Discord as well. It does mean so much to me. I can't tell you how much. And with that, it also gives the impetus and the drive to continue, specifically with the tutorials, but also with our burgeoning plans for expansion into other areas as well, including regular live streaming. If you haven't already, be sure to join our SGB Discord server and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. You can also visit the SGB Athenaeum itself for more information on all things Smile Game Builder. I'm trying to keep it all up to date as part of my New Year's resolution. The links are in the description below, as always. We've also been working hard on our online store, Gnome Treasure, and its official grand opening is almost here. The deadline is by the end of the month, and it is on track. I will be selling my SGB assets pack there, and Tina will put her arts and crafts and other stuff on the store as well. We're both very excited and motivated as we move into 2019 and like the direction we're heading, especially after the BS of 2018. This tutorial, as the title states, is all about background music and sound effects. Much of the information in this tutorial, especially the beginning part, is common logical knowledge, but for the purposes of comprehensiveness, I'm including it here. If you don't want to bother with this, you can skip to the main events for this tutorial by clicking on the timestamps I've included in the description. So the first place we will visit is Add Assets and go straight into the Sound tab. This is where you can import your own music and sounds. The default format is actually OGG. This is the best format to use for music and sound because it's an encoded container only format, so the actual audio can contain any relevant codecs which are embedded in the OGG file itself, and thereby it reduces a lot of additional clutter. You can also import waveform audio files or WAV files. The disadvantage with using this format is that uncompressed waves tend to be larger in size, so they can bloat the download file size of your finished product. And you can also use MP3 files too. Note, however, that the MP3 format has been phased out. As an aside, an interesting article on Pan-Armenian.net states, it was recently discovered that MP3s can make your music sound more depressing, with researchers at the Audio Engineering Library revealing that MP3 compression tended to strengthen neutral and negative emotional characteristics of a song, which the study defined as mysterious, shy, scary and sad. On the other hand, MP3s can dull positive emotional characteristics such as happy, romantic or calm. However, they had no effect on songs that were categorized as angry. I just thought that was a very interesting take on sound experiments, notably with MP3s. It's not something I really considered until now. Anyway, I'd recommend converting your music and sound files to OGG. You can easily do this with the online convert website all of the links to the sites I've mentioned will be in the description for you. So, sound effects, the first tab is, well, sound effects. These are used throughout the game for various effects, including on maps, in battles, and the menu sounds. Environmental sounds are looping background sounds to add a bit of atmosphere to your maps. And the music, background music, BGM, and ME, music effects. The latter is a kind of music for stings for things like obtaining items or staying at an inn. Our next stop is in the game data. And then under the system sounds, this is where you can customize the various sounds. These are all the default settings, which can be changed depending on what you want, including any customized music and sounds you might import. There are quite a lot by default. Now, one of the disadvantages here is that in case you wanted to turn something off, there is no option to have no sound. You have to have a sound or else. So one of the suggestions, one of the workarounds I've got is just to record a blank file with no sound and then add it so that you can import it in here. And if you decide that you don't want, say, a sound for the cursor, you'd be able to use that one instead. This is also under title and the background sound, which obviously sets the music for the title screen. One of the things I like here is the addition of an environmental sound, which can certainly enhance the overall effect. So if we put something at random here, I don't know, that one, and then let's say just some random environmental sound, we'll be able to hear shortly. So we'll do a play test. See, very cool. That's Steam effect. It's quite a nice little addition. Anyway, going to turn that off quickly before moving on to the next. Now, each map has its own default background music and environmental sound, which will play continuously in the background until they're stopped. You can either right click on the map settings, or click and go on the map like that. I'd usually just right click everything. So this would be on music, and once again you can set the music and the environmental sound. Every time you create a map, by default it will go I think it's the BGM town countryside. It's annoying that it's set to nothing by default, because every so often I'll tend to forget to turn it off to nothing, especially if I'm playtesting and don't want to have to listen to the music. But it's just a simple matter of remembering, if you don't want the music, you have to do this, and then you click on nothing. With the music and sound effects, there is no way to directly stop or fade out the background music, but there is one to stop the sound effects in events, where you can stop all sound effects currently in play on the map or individual sounds themselves. So this brings us to a workaround for fading music in and out. Now this method isn't perfect at all, but it's workable. You can set up the event however you like, whether it's manually or automatically triggered, or whether some conditions in other events have the music fade out. The event comprises of several waits and play music, with the play music set to the volume of the music fading out, with each subsequent play music lower in volume than the last, until eventually, when it's set to 0, it'll stop altogether. Unfortunately, when it reaches the minimal volume, i.e. 0, it'll end abruptly, but this gives a sort of like an illusion of sorts for fading out music. And conversely, you can also reverse the volume order from 0 to max to have a fading in effect as well. So the next and final part of this tutorial is to create a minstrel event. Quite appropriate, since the subject of the video is music and sound. I'm actually presenting two different types of minstrel here for a bit of variation. So the first one is a very simple event focusing on randomizing the music playing in pubs or inns. This is easy to figure out on your own, but again, I've included it for a sense of comprehensiveness and completeness. I've limited the range of this particular bard so he doesn't wander into areas he shouldn't. So on sheet 1 we have a simple random number between 1 and 9 stored in a local variable. On sheet 2 this defines in the conditions the range is between 1 and 3. It's triggered once only, and then the played minstrel 1 is played. Likewise, sheet 2, local variable is between 4 and 6, so it plays number 2. And finally, the local variable is greater than 6, because remember we set the random variable between 1 and 9, so this is basically 7, 8 and 9. It will play minstrel 3. Now here's a quick note for YouTube. These are my compositions, as crappy as they are. I created these specifically for the tutorial, so they should not be flagged for copyright infringement, as you have done before with some of my songs or songs that I have had permission to use. Anyway, now that's out of the way, you can also put all of these sheets on a single one with a series of appropriately nested conditional branches. I chose to do it this way because it's much easier and simpler and quicker. And depending on what you want to go for, you can set the auto trigger on sheet 1 to start automatically one time, so that every time you enter the pub or inn a random song will activate, or you can set it to the auto run synchronously so that it'll loop the songs randomly, or should. So we should do like a little play test here. And then the song, it's not this bard, it's this bard down here. This is the dude who's playing it. And then the next time we'll play a random one again. Let's change this back to talk for the other one. The second bard will play a song on request for a small fee, and once again I've limited his range, so he wanders around in this area. So this is how we can set it up. The first thing we do is make sure it's when the main hero talks, so you can actually request a song, and then display a text. I can play a request for $10 or 10 gold or whatever. You have a display selection with yes and no. Then check that the money held is 10 or above, and if you have at least 10, then just basically subtract 10 from it. Thank you, which song should I play, as a display message, and then you'll have the selection, another display selection with all of the songs listed. So if it's the first one, it'll play Minstrel 1. If 2 is selected, then it'll play 2, 3, and Minstrel 3. Now if that doesn't apply, i.e. you don't have 10 gold, I should say, sorry, you don't have enough money, and then that will skip and it'll go all the way through, so the random number is still assigned to the local variable, but because you didn't have the money, all it will do is just he'll play random, and that is like right in between at the very end of this whole branch here. Oh, and underneath here, if you select no, then he'll just say no problem, and it'll still go back down to play the random song. And this, like before, like the previous minstrel event, these ones will depend on the random number being played. And you'll notice that in each one of these we will assign 0 to local variable 0, i.e. we'll just reset it, because otherwise if you didn't, then you won't be able to talk to him, and that's equivalent to if you had event local switch. Oh no, I meant local variable is 0, but you don't really need that, because by default all variables are set to 0 anyway. Now when we play test it again, we should be able to play. Which song shall I play? Well, let's see, Minstrel 2, and then you play it. So we talk to him again. Come on, hello. And then we'll play number 3. Sorry, you don't have enough money. And then once again, then you'll play another random one. And with that, I'm going to end this video. Like and subscribe to be notified of when I upload new videos, and don't forget to visit my Twitter and Facebook accounts and my official SGB website, and possibly my Pinterest as well, which is kinda dead in the water for now. Anyway, you can also join the SGB Discord server, which includes Japanese speaking chat as well, for all the latest SGB news, resources, help and chat. All of the links are in the description. We're also almost ready to open our online store, as I mentioned in the beginning, where all of my high-tax assets packs will become available for purchase. You can visit the Gnome store, the Gnome Treasure store, to preview some of the contents packs, although they are not quite on the market yet, and they will be rolled out from the beginning week of February onwards. If you have ideas for new tutorials in 2019, or you have questions about SGB in general, let me know in the comments below, or on Twitter and Facebook, or in the Discord server itself, and I'll look into them for future videos. That's it for another tutorial in the Smile Game Builder Tutorials and Showcases series. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.